Hello everybody and welcome back to the wireless penetration testing section. Now, in the previous videos I showed you how you can brute force the handshake with the Hashcat tool and with the aircrack tool. We both use CPU and GPU in that process, and we also saw how we can create some of our own word lists in order to make our attack more possible to work. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is also very important thing, which is how you can actually make your process of cracking even more faster than we did before. Now, you remember that we actually had only around 350 passwords per second on our Kali Linux machine with our CPU, and on my laptop we had around 4000 passwords per second with the CPU. Now, the GPU was around 100,000 passwords per second, but we can even make that faster if we wanted to, like a lot faster. So, open up your terminal. I am currently on the Kali Linux, but I will switch to my laptop when I need to show you something. But right now what I want to do is actually find our handshake that we captured. It is in the handshake folder. As we can see, it is right here, scan01.cap. And we also have a passwords.txt file. Let me just see which password list is that. It is a password list that we created with the crunch, okay. Now, what I want to show you is basically how you can make a rainbow table out of your password list. Now, what is a rainbow table? Well, basically, rainbow tables are huge sets of pre-computed tables filled with hashed values that are pre-matched to possible plaintext passwords. Now, it allows us to crack the passwords even faster. Basically, it allows hackers to reverse the hashing function and to determine what the plaintext password might be. So, let me show you how we can actually create a rainbow table. It can take some time, so I will find on GitHub a password list that isn't larger than 100,000 passwords per second, so this doesn't take a long to create. Let me just open up my Firefox, and I will basically just search GitHub password list. And let's see what we can actually find on GitHub. Maybe we can find a good password list that we can use for this. You can use any password list you want. If you want to, for example, you can use the rockyou.txt password list. Basically, it can be any password list you want, but it depends. The larger the password, the more time it will take to create a rainbow table. So let me just find right here password list. Let's go with the 100,000. Let's wait for this to open up. Then we will git clone this site. It has 100,000 passwords, so let us just clone this, copy, then go to our terminal in our handshake folder and type git clone and paste the file. So now that we are downloading this, it says fatal repository not found. Well, that's unfortunate. But there is another thing that we can do. We can go to the raw section right here, and it should load up the page with basically all of the passwords, and we will just select all of them. Just my Firefox is currently a little bit slow. We could have used a smaller password list if we wanted to, and basically we will if this doesn't want to copy itself, but there really isn't no point in making a rainbow table out of a password list that isn't at least 1 million passwords large. Now, I'm using 100,000 passwords, so this doesn't take too long to make. Let me see what is happening with this at the moment. It is loading something, not really sure what is it loading. You know what, it basically... Okay, it finished, so let us copy all of the passwords right here and let me nano pass.txt and I will basically paste all of the passwords that I just copied. Now, since this is a virtual machine, this will probably lag out a little bit, but as soon as it finishes, we will be able to continue working with it. Well, never mind, that did lag out. I will just use a password list that I already have right here. So, or let me just create a new one with crunch that has 8 characters at least, and let's paste it into file.txt, for example. Now, since this is 1 terabyte large, I will not really paste the entire password list. I will basically Control-C soon enough. So let me just Control-C right now. And basically in the file.txt we should have some passwords at least. I believe there is around 1 million passwords right here, which is more than enough. I will show you how you can create the rainbow table now with that password. So let me just delete the ones we don't need. So pass.txt.save, and we don't need passwords.txt. And let us actually rename the file.txt into passwords.txt so you don't actually get confused right here. So these are the only 2 things we need, a password list and the .cap file that we caught the handshake with. So the tool that we will use is called aerolib. Let's just type aerolib --help in order to see our available options. Now, as we can see right here, there are a few options. One is the SQL, the clean, the batch, verify, stats. We will use most of them, so since we need to import the password list, and we also need to import the ESSID, which is just the name of our access point. Now, in order to import the ESSID, you basically need to create a simple text file. So you just name it nano essid.txt. And what you need to do right now is basically just search your wireless access point and see what the name of it is. For my access point, it is basically this one. So I will just paste the name of my wireless access point in this file. Now I Control-O, enter, and then Control-C, or pardon me, Control-X to exit. And you can see that in this folder, in this file, I only have the name of my wireless access point. Now that you made this, we can start using the aerolib-ng tool. So, first thing we need to do right here is basically create the rainbow table itself and import the ESSID in it. Now, how we do that? We do that with aerolib-ng. Now, after that, you specify the name of your rainbow table. You can name it anything you want. I will just name it rainbow table. Or let's just do all smaller letters. And then you want to import, and then import SSID. And basically after this you need to specify the name of our files, which is only the ESSID. So just type here import ESSID and then the name of the file, which is essid.txt. Now once you do that, you can click here enter, and you can see it will finish relatively fast since we only imported 1 word. The next thing that you want to do is import the password list. Now we import the password list with the similar command, so type here aerolib-ng. Then you specify the name of your rainbow table, whatever you named it. Then you specify -- or -- import passwd, and after the passwd you need to specify the password list that you are using. In my case that is the pass.txt. So once you do that, just click here enter, and it will read all of the passwords from the file and it will import them into the rainbow table. Now we can see right here how many passwords are there in my file. So over 1 million already. Hopefully it will stop soon. I should have Control-C it a little bit earlier, so we do not have this much passwords, but it doesn't matter. This shouldn't take too long to load. The process that will take too long if you use a huge password list will be the next command, which is the -- or -- batch, since it will import and it will hash all of the private share keys or all of the passwords from plain text to hashed versions, so it can compare them faster once you run the attack. Now here we can see that we are reading over 5 million passwords, but that those are just passwords in the plain text. After that, it will compute those passwords into hashed version of those passwords. So let us see how long this will take. This is already over 7 million soon. Now it will also go, the entire process of this will also go a lot faster if you have a stronger virtual machine, or basically if you are running this on your main PC. I remember on my laptop I did the same thing a few minutes ago with the Rockyou.txt password list, which is around 14 million, and this process right here of importing the password list took a lot shorter time to process these lines that it reads than these 10 million passwords right here. But I will just wait for this to finish and I will get back to you as soon as it does. Well, this took a lot longer. I basically Control-C this since it went over 20 million passwords. There is no need to wait for that. And you can see right now, if your importing of password list is finished, that you will have a file called Rainbow Table if you name it like that. Now, what you can do with this, basically, you can check out the stat, which is the option in Aerolib. So just type here Rainbow Table -- stat. And here we can see there are one, and after it finishes here we can see that there is one SSID which we specified with this command right here once we imported the name of our wireless access point, and there are also 20 million passwords in the database. Now 0 out of 20 million possible combinations have been computed. So what we want to do right now is run the command called --batch. Now that command will compute these passwords and there will no longer be 0 out of 20 million possible combinations computed. So how do we do that? Well, we run the aerolib -ng, and then --batch. So once you do that, basically, or let me just add the name of the rainbow table or it won't work. So name your rainbow table, then --batch. And when you let this run, this process will take the longest out of all of the previous processes, since it basically has to compute all the passwords in this rainbow table. Now, I will not wait for it to compute 20 million passwords, since that would take around a week time. I'll basically let it compute a few passwords, or basically first 10 or 20,000 or something like that. And then after that I will Control-C this program and we will run the attack with our aircrack program. If you use the smaller password list, you can wait for it to finish computing it. Basically the process of computing is dependent on your basically hardware. So as you can see right here, it computes around 10,000 passwords in 45 seconds, while as on my laptop it computes around, I believe, 100,000 passwords in 45 seconds. So, but once again, this is a virtual machine, so that is why it is so slow. If you use a smaller password list, it shouldn't take that much to finish. But after this, once it computes around 20,000 passwords, you will see how much faster the aircrack program will run compared to the previous attack that we did, where it only were able to guess around 350 keys per second. While as right now, I believe that number will grow over 2,000 or 3,000. Now we will see. It might even be larger than that, so let us just Control-C this program once it hits 25,000. So Control-C right now. Let us just, not really sure why I'm not able to Control-C this. Okay, here it is. We closed it. And now if we run the stats right here, it will say that 25,000 out of 20 million possible combinations have been computed, which is around 0.12%. So let me just show you that you can also, what or what you can also do with this tool, which is arrowlib -ng, you can basically make arrowlib. You can basically make the SQL queries to the database or to your Rainbow table with the --SQL, and then you specify the SQL query you want to use. Now, we covered SQL basics, so you should know what, for example, this means. So select star from ESSID. Basically, it will select the ESSID that we imported into our Rainbow table. You can also select all from passwords, but I believe that this will take a lot longer since there are a lot of passwords in our password list. Now, I will Control C this. If it could, okay, there it is. You can also select all private shared keys or basically your encrypted versions of the password with this command. So right now you can see that there are a bunch of random characters being printed out right here. Those are basically your pre-computed passwords that it hashed in the process where we run --batch. Now, after we do that, we only want to run one more command before we start the attack, which is arrowlib -ng, then the name of our Rainbow table, and then -- clean all. Now, this will clean all of the unnecessary things in our Rainbow table and possibly make it work even faster. So, I'm not really sure how long this could take. Shouldn't take too long, but we will see.